There's so much in the news right now, from the Signal chat to people being swatted if they're conservatives to scratching up and destroying Teslas because you can. The person I like to go to when it comes to exactly what should happen on a lawful manner to people who do bad things in this country is Alina Habba. Plus, she's a great attorney, a great friend of mine, and now the acting U.S. attorney in New Jersey. Alina, congratulations. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much.
Feels like yesterday we were talking to you and you were standing outside the courtroom in New York City. What an unbelievable whirlwind you've been through. Just, if you don't mind, tell me what it's like to go from defending the president when that lawfare was all going on to getting into the White House as his counsel and now as the acting U.S. attorney. This has got to be, I'm guessing, a dream come true. I know the job is very serious, but on a personal level, it's got to feel pretty great.
Yeah, it is. I have to pinch myself. I'm so lucky to be in this position, honestly. And every time I think that I've made it, we get pushed a little harder, and the next challenge is here, and I'm up for it. And I cannot wait to get back to New Jersey and make sure that that city and state is safe. I was born and raised there, so it's been a real whirlwind. You know that. We've talked many, many times in the past few years. Ironically, it's also been incredibly consistent. We're constantly fighting back against lawfare, and we are caring first about Americans, and that's not going to change. That hasn't changed one bit in any role that I've taken with President Trump. So I'm grateful. It's a real honor.
When we say that you're the U.S. attorney, the interim or acting U.S. attorney, what does that specifically mean? Can we say it's like you're a deputy attorney general for the United States in a one geographical center that'll take care of the issues of that area? Is that what it is?
It's the chief law enforcement officer for the Fed in the state of New Jersey, and New Jersey's unique in that they only have one U.S. attorney there. So, yes, I am an arm of the Department of Justice and the head for the state of New Jersey.
Is the job harder because New Jersey generally lately has been blue, although some will say it's purple now? Is it harder because of that, or it doesn't matter?
Not to me. I work for the federal government. I work for the Department of Justice and President Trump, as I have, frankly. So for me, this isn't really any different other than the fact that different location and different powers, different controls over crime. And I can't wait to use them to clean up the streets and the cities and to keep pushing on the president's agenda.
The amazing Alina Habba, she's the interim U.S. attorney in New Jersey. A lot of news stories happening today, and you and I have been friends a long time. We talk about everything. You and I don't talk on Signal. I think that we just talk on iMessage. Signal is an app that I use. You might use it. I mean, when I have somebody from overseas that I want to interview, I'll generally use Signal. It's easier to use. It is an encrypted app, and it works fine. But somehow some reporter got on this Signal chat from with high-level administration people, and he shouldn't have been on there. The bottom line is this. Shouldn't we find out how he got on there? I don't think any classified information was on there. Caroline Leavitt's in front of it. The president's in front of it. But shouldn't we at least find out how the heck did this guy get on there?
I think they're doing that, frankly, already. So, yes, I think that the questions that needed to be asked, were answered yesterday. We saw much of the day being spent with Tulsi, Cash, et cetera, going through what exactly happened. We found out from Ratcliffe and from those individuals that were involved that it wasn't classified, that they were using high side, something that we use for classified intel and communications, that was also used. So, yeah, it was obviously this person was not supposed to be on there, but that doesn't mean that their communications were inappropriate. They're allowed to communicate. They're high-level people, and they did so.
And the communications came out today, and again, there was nothing classified. The Atlantic itself is changing its wording from war plans to now attack plans to something else.
Right.
It stinks to me, Alina, and I think you agree, because the Atlantic doesn't like Trump. The Atlantic has been a rag that has literally put out misinformation on purpose, disinformation, the suckers and losers, and the Russia, all this stuff. That guy got on there somehow. I mean, that's what smells to me. I don't know if there's anything more to say about it other than it was that guy. You know what I mean? Does that mean that we look into it
I think
in a different way?
The behaviors of that guy
yes.
going on TV and the behavior after it are very telling. This is a known Democrat who is clearly anti-Trump. We're not surprised by this. And his behaviors after the fact, as I said in a gaggle this morning, he's obviously trying to make a name for himself and is doing so. Now, the name that he's making for himself, in my opinion, is not a very good one. But if you're low-hanging fruit, I guess you take whatever low-hanging fruit you can get. And that is what he's doing.
Very well said. Alina Habba, the interim U.S. attorney in New Jersey, a great friend of ours. Whitehouse.gov is the website, obviously. When I go on live, and I usually go on TikTok live every night, I've got almost 1 million followers on TikTok now. They really do want conservatism there. The one question that comes up almost every single night, Alina, is are we going to prosecute anybody from the Epstein list? Are we going to get all the information on Epstein? Where are we on that? Because I know that you're interested in prosecuting people.
Yes, I am. I am. And God help them if any of those individuals that did commit crimes against minors are from the state of New Jersey. I will tell you that crime that is written, when we did finally get all of the files that were being held back from us in New York, not surprisingly, the great state of New York was playing games. When we did get all those documents, there were a ton. And Pam has spoken on this. Cash has spoken on this. We have to make sure that we preserve the information that we're getting and also what we project out to the public to make sure that we can prosecute these individuals that need to be prosecuted and also protect the victims. In these cases, you have to remember sensitivity to certain things. We don't want to bring cases that will lose, and we don't ever want to jeopardize the people that were victimized by no fault of their own, but by the circumstance. So that's a priority. We are transparent. We will be transparent, but we also have an obligation to uphold the law and our ethics. And they are doing so by going through each page, making sure we redact things, making sure we build cases that need to be built, et cetera. So I trust that Pam and Cash are doing what they need to do in this. I'm sure once I get to DOJ next week and start my job, I'll get read in on it at a different level. But there's no question that I can tell you, for as far as I'm concerned, if any of them are in New Jersey, they better watch out.
It is Alina Habba, the interim U.S. attorney of the great state of New Jersey, and just an amazing lawyer. You have dealt with rogue judges a lot since you and I have known each other. I mean, Engeron on down. You've got people who just are making decisions that don't make any sense by the law. Yeah. When we look at this D.C. trial judge who decided that he would tell President Trump that he doesn't have any second, Article 2, powers as the executive, that you've got to turn planes around that are filled with gang members, hardened gang members that want to do harm to people in America. You've got this guy telling him to do that and now trying to hold Trump to account because he didn't do what he told him to do. You've got to, when they say constitutional crisis in the left media, you and I can laugh that off because they're stupid. But when it comes to this truly is. This guy on a local bench in D.C. thinks he has the right to bypass Article 2, bypass a law that's been on the books since 1798, the Alien Enemies Act, and tell the president what he can and can't do. What do you make of all that?
I mean, it's the lawfare that I've seen many times. It really needs to stop. We're seeing it against Doge. We saw it against President Trump before he was the 47th president. And I really have a disdain for anybody who uses any office where you are supposed to apply law to fact for political gain. This is not a soap opera. This is the government. This is the Constitution. These are real criminals that the president has said are declared terrorists. And I really can't get behind anybody who believes that having criminals and terrorists in our country is acceptable or something we should be stopping. I don't understand the mentality behind it other than to possibly just have Trump derangement syndrome or want to slow down this administration that has been working tirelessly and rapidly to clean up the streets of this great nation. So I would love to sit down, honestly, and ask that judge why exactly you thought that was a good idea. We will obviously fight this vehemently. I'm no stranger to it, and God knows we love a good fight. But I will tell you that I find it completely counterproductive for the American people for us to consistently have to waste taxpayer dollars to be into court. Trump won. He won in a large mandate on November 5th. Yeah. And everybody needs to get on board with what the American people want. There is separation of powers. He is the executive branch. You have to respect those orders. And at the end of the day, this judge trying to throw an order out and stop a plane from going was nothing more than theatrics and inappropriate, unlawful. And I think it was completely incorrect. And we'll keep fighting tooth and nail with every single one of these.
And on that specific case, this law from 1798, it went through Congress, was signed by John Adams, who was the president. It has been challenged for 200 years, Alina, and it's been above reproach. So the executive has the right, by the Article 2, powers that he has, to say, I'm going to use an article or a law that's been on the books for 200 years. I just don't understand where the judge gets the feeling that he has the right, unless it's what you said, it's TDS. It could be that, or this judge. Do you think there's any chance this judge really thought he had the power to tell the president you can't?
No, I think they do. I think that they like to think of everything in a box, and they think that they see themselves as martyrs, as some sort of spearheaders of the other side's agenda. And I just think that's inappropriate and wrong, frankly. If you look at why that law was created, it was created in times of war originally.
Yeah.
Things evolve. And I've said to the press, and I'll say it again, if you want to call this a war on fentanyl, a war on child trafficking, a war on sex trafficking, labor trafficking, if you want to call this a war on criminals that are being violent, that are taking over in Colorado apartment buildings, that are hurting American people, then call it that. What is not more like a war than these gang members that have come into our border and hurt our American citizens? What could be more? What is different from that, from somebody coming in from another country and shooting us? And by the way, that is what they're doing. They're coming in from another country illegally and hurting our people. That is war. And it's not appropriate. The president is committed to cleaning it up. He's doing an amazing job, along with everybody else who's out there fighting to secure our borders, to get people deported, to get criminals into a justice system where we're going to prosecute them, and we will. But that is exactly what it is. So I'm not really sure where the confusion is, but I'll say there's one thing consistent with every single thing that we will probably talk about today. And that is that they are trying to use the court system to slow us down. It is the same thing they did on the campaign to President Trump. Right. They were trying to use the court system to make sure that he was not out there campaigning, to make sure that he was held up. He couldn't fight hard. He had his hands tied behind his back and a blindfold on, and he won anyway. And he won in a major way.
It's Alina Habba, the interim U.S. attorney, great state of New Jersey. Chuck Schumer just the other day said that. We crammed 235 judges, progressive judges, to stop Trump. And, you know, it bothers me that the Republicans in the Senate didn't dig in and stop that, but they admitted it. So what you just said is not your opinion. It's verifiable truth by the left. They said they're going to do that. So what's the recourse? What can you do as the U.S. attorney? What can the DOJ do when there are these rogue judges? You want to impeach them, and then Roberts says you should really do the appellate system and not impeach anybody. What's the recourse when somebody isn't doing the job and they're literally making law from the bench?
I think that Speaker Johnson spoke well about this today. He said very clearly, look, at the end of the day, you're federally funded, and we will go to extreme measures if we have to. And it's not I wish it wasn't necessary, honestly, because these are people that I share a bar with. These are people that are the same profession, same licenses that I have. And I wish that they would stop and read the tea leaves here, and that you're supposed to work for your constituents. Why would you not want safety for America? Why would you want to get in the way of people that came in here illegally, going back home, or going to get tried for the crimes they've committed here in jail somewhere else? Why would we want to burden our country with these individuals? I cannot understand it. And then you want to use the guise of, oh, these are war crime methods that we shouldn't be using now. No, we are internally in a state of war, and we have to clean it up. And President Trump has done it. It won't stop, unfortunately. I know that for a fact. Every time over the last 4 years, I thought it was the last indictment. Every time over the last 4 years, I thought we can't possibly have another trial before the election. That would be impossible. These cases don't typically go for 3-4 years. I was surprised. They are relentless, but it's most important for these people to look back historically. They didn't win against President Trump. They tried to hold him back. They didn't win against the American people. They tried to hold them back. And all they did was push the American people closer together, push independents towards Republican Party, and start to do things as a unit. And that was very broken for the past 4 years in the last administration. So I think it's, they really, I'm shocked that they haven't learned their lesson, but here we are.
Listen, very well said. Everything you just said is so true. They can't answer the question, why do you want these people back? So they have to make it about due process or some garbage that we know this act from 1798 supersedes. Alina Habba, I know that you're short on time. I know that you've heard about the war that's on conservative influencers now. In the middle of the night at my house, 2 o'clock in the morning, you had 7 sheriff's deputies with their guns out, ready to get somebody, kill somebody that was allegedly attacking my family and me. That didn't happen. There are dozens now of us who have been facing this. It's called swatting. What can the DOJ do to stop these people from doing this? They're trying to get us to be dead in our doorway at our houses because we dare have conservative beliefs.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a form of intimidation that is happening for conservatives. If you look at the vandalism on Tesla, it's another example of it. Conservatives, well, anybody in this country. I'm going to speak more generally. I don't really care what your politics are.
Right.
And in my new role, when I get sworn in, I can assure you, my politics are not going to be what's number one. What's going to be number one, as it should be, is law and order. If you violate the law, if you have somebody swatted because of and you're targeting them because of their beliefs, whether it be religious, whether it be political, you should be held accountable for that. If you are using the marshal's office and FBI to come after and attack somebody and wasting taxpayer dollars in an unlawful attempt to intimidate them, you should be prosecuted. If you want to go and spray paint Tesla and go after somebody's vehicle, their private vehicle, or property in the state, I'll tell you, in the great state of New Jersey, you will be prosecuted. And that's not political. That's just the law. It doesn't matter who owns Tesla. I don't care if it's Ford. I don't care if it's Subaru. If you are doing that to anybody and targeting a certain group, you will not have it. That is effectively terroristic, and I just won't stand for it. So I can tell you that there's going to be some real shaking up in New Jersey for myself, and I'll be following Pam's lead. You know, this is not about politics. This is about law and order, safety, and security. You should not be asleep, Joe, and be petrified that somebody's going to SWAT your house because you happen to be a conservative voice in social media. It's just not the way this world works. It's not the way this country works. There are parts of this world that work that way, but not this country.
I just love that you're out there fighting for us, Alina. I'm super proud of you. Congratulations on the move. Interim U.S. Attorney, the great state of New Jersey. It's Alina Habba. Alina, thanks a million for making the time, and stay safe, and let's stay in contact, okay?
You got it. Thanks, Joe.
I appreciate you. We're back after this. Stay right here.